Every day, hard-working Nigerians, especially civil and public servants, step into the real estate market with hope in their hearts and trust in the system. In the end, many are left with nothing but regret because they invested in the wrong property, trusted the wrong people, and paid dearly for it. That is why EncumberedProperties.com exists, to protect honest people like you from fraud, deceit, and Lego traps in real estate. This we do by bringing you red alerts on encumbered properties, disputed properties, or properties that are for any reason not available for sale. Guess what? All these we do free of charge. Good day, and welcome to Encumbered Properties Red Alert. I am Rex Chinedu Agwawike. On Encumbered Properties Red Alert today is a property you need to avoid by all means. A bitter land dispute has erupted between two parties, Mr. Babatunde Oladipo and Mrs. Adesanya Folashade. According to court documents made available to EncumberedProperties.com, the crisis erupted when Mr. Babatunde Oladipo allegedly sold the property to Mrs. Folashade Adesanya without the consent of the original owner, Mr. Oladipo, who passed away in 2015. Mrs. Adesanya claimed to have paid 60 million naira for the said property, and she said she's been in possession of the property since 2020. However, Mr. Babatunde Oladipo has denied selling the property to Mrs. Adesanya, vowing that the property is still part of his father's estate. Mr. Babatunde Oladipo denied ever selling the property, which is located at number 12 Adewale Crescent off Adetokunbo, Ademola Street, Ajah, Lagos State, to Mrs. Adesanya, who has vowed not to let go. The case is currently before a Lagos State High Court, with both parties seeking a court declaration on the rightful ownership of the property. As the dispute remains unresolved, one thing is certain: the fate of the multi-million naira property hangs in the balance. In the meantime, EncumberedProperties.com is bringing you this red alert so that you can be aware and not allow anybody to fraudulently market same property to you. Looking at the complicated nature of this case, there is need for us to seek an expert opinion to understand what is going on here. So we are here to seek an expert opinion from our in-house property lawyer, Mr. Majoke Enwere, who doubles as the founder in EncumberedProperties.com and a senior police officer. It's my pleasure to have you again, sir.
Thank you, Rex.
Thank you for your time. Very well. This particular case sounds complicated, looking at the degree of denial. You know, the supposed seller, Mr. Oladipo, has denied selling the property to Mrs. Adesanya. You know, and Mrs. Adesanya has vowed that she will not let the property go, saying she paid 60 million naira already for the property. So I would want to know, do you think Mr. Oladipo Babatunde has a case in this regard?
Well, before I answer your question, I want to put the facts of this case in perspective.
Very well.
I'm privileged to have interacted with the correspondent of EncumberedProperties.com that is following up the development of this case all the way from Lagos. From the reports he sent to EncumberedProperties.com, we are made to understand that it's actually the trustees of late Oladipo that deny the knowledge of the sale of the said property to Mrs. Adesanya.
Not the son.
The son actually did sell.
Okay.
Without the consent of the executors of the will of Oladipo, who is now late. Now, the executors, in this case, they are still the trustees of the will, have denied that they were not carried along and they are not part of the sale. And the son who sold ab initio has no right whatsoever to have sold in the first place. So the denial in question is from the executors of the will of the late patriarch.
So the case is up against who now?
Well, the case is actually up against the executors, that is against the estate of late the Oladipo.
Okay.
And the person who actually sold without authority is also part of the case.
Is this legal trap avoidable? If yes, who do you blame in this case? Mrs. Adesanya that invested in the property without due diligence.
You call it a legal trap. Is it actually a legal trap? I think on the side of young Oladipo, is fraudulent of him, knowing that his father has not bequeathed such a property to him, knowing that there are executors of the said will, still went ahead and sold. So, on one hand, it is criminal. So I blame the young man who sold the father's property without reference to the content of the will. I also blame more the said woman, I mean Mrs. Adesanya, with due respect to her, to have bought without due diligence. Once a property is a family property, once an issue of inheritance comes in, once the property is not originally bought by the person who is selling to you, once you hear that it's my father's property, that's like put you at your seventh sense, if there is something like that. For you to investigate, go behind, ask family members whether this person selling to you has the right to sell or not. So Mrs. Adesanya has her own share of the blame because she didn't conduct any due diligence. She didn't also try searching through encumberedproperties.com to know if such a property has been flagged, probably by the executors of the will or any of the siblings of the young Oladipo.
I guess we are following up with this conversation because many people are still not ready to learn these legal traps. You could end up falling victim to this avoidable circumstance. I don't know, what would be your advice for, prospective realtors? Somebody out there right now might have so much money in his bank account and is looking forward to investing in one estate or the other. So I don't know, what would be your advice for such people looking at the scenario we just handed?
My advice to prospective investors, no matter where, whether Lagos or otherwise, is once you spot a property you are interested in, don't be in a hurry. And if the vendor tries stampeding you, that's a red flag.
If the vendor is always on your neck, that's a red flag.
It's a red flag. So what do? Indicate your interest. If you so much love the property, you can open an escrow account. What is an escrow account? An account that the vendor cannot touch whatever amount that is deposited into it until all the due diligence, everything that is needed to be done, every search concluded. So this will allow the buyer time to make background investigations about the integrity of the seller. If it's a family property, if it's an inherited property, extending inquiries to the uncles, siblings, relatives, to know what their stake is in the property. Because most of us, family properties don't normally belong to a single person.
Right.
So for someone to stand up and say, okay, it's my father's property, you without asking question, what about your siblings? And you go ahead and pay. I mean, what kind of hurry is that?
So that you are the person's son doesn't make you an automatic owner of that property.
Exactly, because the deceased reserves the right to will it to whomever he likes. And it is not your inquiries or the inquiries of any buyer shouldn't be limited to when buying a property that belongs to a deceased person. Any property whatsoever. Finding out about the integrity of the person who is trying to sell to you, it is very, very important. Also, finding out about the interest other people might have in the property is very, very key. Extending your search to the relevant land barrier, covering the area, covering the jurisdiction is very, very important. And what you shouldn't also overlook is visiting encumberedproperties.com. Somebody might have flagged the property one way or the other. So when you make all these searches, you must stumble on information that will help you know whether you should go ahead or not.
It's always a sweater with you. I look forward to having that great time with you, sir.
Pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine.
Thank you
so much. My dear friend, would you like to get similar updates on encumbered properties, disputed properties, or properties that are for any reason not available for sale? Then subscribe to this channel to stay updated. Till I come your way again, stay safe and stay out of troubled properties. I am Rex Chinedu Agwawike.